the C.A.T. C.A.T, of course, short for certainty, alignment, and transparency. Meow, let's talk a little bit about C.A.T for token distributions.
Certainty, alignment, and transparency. It really started for me kind of like working through the token reduction. I also thinking through a lot of the current issues that people are facing, right, about Memecoin launches. And when you don't have these three things, certainty, alignment, and transparency, it's my belief that it doesn't work because there's too much distrust in the community. If the JUP community feels that they might get insta-dump at any moment and there's no certainty, it wouldn't work because the whole conversation will be dominated by that versus the project. There'll be no conversation at all about the future of Jupiter. The one that's actually really important here is certainty. Giving the community a certainty, we got your back. Ideally, this one shouldn't just be trust me bro kind of thing. It should be enforced somehow, right? And for the JUP launch, the way you enforced it, right, was like the co-wallet stuff is actually majority owned, not by the team. People don't really know that, but the majority of the JUP reserve is not majority but owned by the team, multisig. So I believe that token distributions should give us a certainty to the community. That's one thing that I think is actually really important. And second thing is alignment. If I go like, hey, Jupiter is great, let's do Jupiter, yeah, let's go long term. But then I get my tokens early and I throw it out, then that wouldn't work, right? I feel like where possible and stuff, the token distribution should have alignment. The whole point is that whatever you project in your roadmap, there needs to be a sufficient kind of alignment in achieving that. So I feel like alignment is really, really important. And also transparency. One of the biggest problems today is actually around lack of transparency. Or for example, some projects, they might take their tokens, they put it under one category called like ecosystem fund. But no one really knows what ecosystem fund means. So I feel like transparency is a really big deal. And I hope to kind of do that with JUP. What this involves is a few things. Number one, a very clean and transparent process from the point of mint. On-chain tokens is different from L1 tokens. L1 tokens are minted and processed over by the stakers and everything. DeFi or meme coin tokens stuff are created at point of mint. So there needs to be a very clear and transparent process at the point of mint. And secondly, is that there needs to be a best effort initial distribution. For JUP, the initial distribution was done in a way that a lot of people involved. We had high level of certainty and very high levels of transparency about how we achieve the initial distribution. And thirdly, right, the key stakeholders should actually be aligned on the long-term plans and ongoing distributions to reflect that. Meow and Siong basically thinks that June 2026 is going to be where a lot of the results of our efforts will be clear. So we will push any kind of like distribution to ourselves at that date. For the JUP, check out this post that we did. It documents our initial minting, who owns the multisig, 3 team signers and 4 external signers using a squads V4 multisig. And then we have the hot multisig, which team runs, which we actually use to distribute for ongoing stuff. I consider this like a good balance of execution and doing. My goal is to have every single JUP be trackable, so you know where the JUP is going. As part of this 30% reduction thing, if the community and the ecosystem has certainty that, okay, great, there's no way for like me to get dumped on, there's actually very clear alignment between the users and the holders and the cadets and the team about the long-term plan, and there's high level of transparency about where everything goes. But if the community believes there's certainty, alignment, and transparency, it really goes a very long way to avoid the PvP dynamic. When you don't have trust, PvP happens. When you have trust, PvP happens.